Welcome to the Create Today podcast. I'm your host, Karen Stanley, and this show is all about how you can create the life that you want one day at a time. And today I'm so excited to interview Janna Bowman. She's a wonderful, incredible woman I met through the Arete Syndicate. Thanks for Andy Frisella and Ed Milet, awesome individuals that put together a group of entrepreneurs that are always striving to be better and striving for excellence. And Janna is absolutely one of those women who embodies that. Thank you so much, Janna, for being here and being on my show and sharing with us today.
Thank you, Karen. It's absolute pleasure, and I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. You had to reschedule it, I think, twice now, so we're finally doing this. Thank you. And thanks for being patient with me. Janna has a big surgery coming up. I'd love to just start there, if you don't mind. She has to have a double hip replacement. Oh my gosh. First of all, you must be in so much pain every day, all day long. What happened? Can you back up and tell us what happened with your hips and what led to this double hip replacement surgery that you have coming up soon?
Oh, absolutely. So I think if I backtrack it, I probably always have had some level of pain or discomfort. Like it comes and it goes. And I thought it was like, tight hip flexors. But when I went to one of the doctors and I had like one of the x-rays, I think it was like a genetic, like just somehow how my hips were formed. Like it was, he just kind of said it was inevitable, just they weren't at the right angle, the right degree, and so they were never going to function properly, which leads to more wear and tear. And then probably just I've not been the kindest, but I've just lived life to its fullest. I've played soccer, run, track, bike, ski, like whatever is in movement and outside. In fact, I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro just 2 years ago, which is crazy to think like I made it up that mountain, 17,000 feet. And then 2 years later, I'm having double hip replacement.
Whoa. Did you already
Yeah.
have surgery on your hips?
I didn't. I mean, I just kind of endured the pain and it wasn't enough to limit. And so the doctor said when your quality of life, stops, that's when. And it's interesting, I can mark the day like end of April this year. It was just like a pain like I hadn't had and it didn't go away. Which was usually I could fight through it, I could bully through it, it would go away, and it didn't. And so I was like, okay, I think I need to do something. So I went and they just basically were like, all right, which one do you want to start with? Because they both have got to, they're so bad. They need to be replaced. But, as much as when I went to that appointment in July and the first surgery date was November, it seemed like an eternity. Unfortunately, now it got moved up, but it really has taught me how to be grateful and more empathetic to those who have chronic pain, but they don't have a solution or an end in sight. Because at least I have that solution. And so that's something that I really tried to like be grateful for. Is it every day I remember that? No. Is it easy to wallow and be like just sulk because I can't do and play like I want to do? Yeah. But at the end of the day, there is a solution.
Wow. And that's what you named your company, J Doug Solutions. And we'll get to that in a second, but we can't just skip over Mount Kilimanjaro. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. What is the preparation for that? I mean, I've seen like documentaries about it and stuff, but you personally freaking did that?
I did it. It was September of 2021. Flew over to Tanzania. It was part of a leadership development group. And so there was 8 people that I had met online for about 6 months. It culminated by meeting in Tanzania and climbing the mountain together for 7 days.
7 days.
I would probably say it was the hardest, but most rewarding thing I've ever done. I mean, you had to pull from a gut strength that you've never pulled from before. You camped outside. There was ice on the inside of the tent. And it was interesting for me. Probably the biggest shift for me is I typically eat a carnivore diet, and the hosts, which I didn't realize, were all vegetarians. So there was like, just even my body had to change how to process food. So they had some meat for me, which interestingly, the whole support crew named me Simba because it's the lion that eats. And I didn't know this till the end. Everybody I didn't even know, like, was like, oh, that's Simba.
The only meat eater. That's wild.
Yeah.
You would think for like that endurance and for that strength that you have, you would think that you would need way more protein than a vegetarian diet. But I guess it worked out for them. They're all vegetarians and they did it too. That's crazy.
Right. So the prep was a lot of like, I mean, like a lot of walking, a lot of hiking, finding hills even in my neighborhood and just going up and down them and even carrying, I mean, like essentially like a rock, to prep, having to pack on your back and the extra load on your legs and your feet and getting your boots ready so you didn't get blisters. And I don't even know what could prepare you for hiking literally from midnight to 10 a.m. to summit. And then, sleeping in the tent and the views were amazing. The sky was amazing. The depth of what you really can do comes out. Like, because you either have to get to the next camp or what? Like, you can't go back down. And so you just got to figure out where to come from, that gut strength.
How much did your pack weigh?
So this was what the amazing thing is. I felt like kind of a wimp in comparison to the porters. So my day pack really was only like 20 pounds. It was like water and whatever snacks or like rain gear. But my true 50-pound pack was the porters carried that every day. So for me, there was probably, I think there's four to five porters per every person to support us with food, with tents, with our own packs, and they literally left after we did. Like, we left and then they cleaned up the camp. They flew past us and had everything set by the time we got there. So yeah, we did nothing in comparison to the porters.
Wow. Why did you hike from midnight to 10 a.m.? Why at night?
So that was the only one we summited because weather typically comes in like later in the day. And so to avoid any bad weather. So we left our camp at midnight and then summited that morning. So you got to see the sunrise literally at 17,000 feet, which was phenomenal. And then it was one of those also, talk about faith and trust. You had your headlamp and you could literally see like right in front of you. And probably was a good thing if you looked at the snake haired turns, but literally you had to trust your guides. I mean, it was blind faith and blind trust. You had your headlamp, you couldn't see to the left or right. It was pitch black. And that's what we did. And you could look down the mountain and you could see like the whole snake of lights of other, people coming up. But it just really taught you had to rely on the people in front of you. You had to trust because there was nothing I could do. I didn't know.
You had no idea what's really in front of you and what's really behind you. Wow.
And yeah, a great life lesson.
It is. We were just talking about that before we press record, how important community is and how important the people, real people around you is every single day. And yeah, great. Like, especially if you're climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. Holy crap. So all of the days leading up, so that was the last day, but what was so what were the other days like? So like can you just walk us through a quick all day? What is it like?
So it's interesting. Before we left, I'm really glad I never found this chart before I left. We're like, well, we're going to only climb like 3 to 5 miles a day. And then what else are we going to do? Just sit around camp? What I did realize is that for every mile was literally 1 mile per hour. Like, we were going that slow. So we didn't get back to camp till 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So we'd wake up, have breakfast in a community tent, get our gear together, get our water, and then we would start hiking. And then sometimes we'd break for lunch or we'd hike like 2 or so, and then we would eat lunch at the camp or whenever we got there. And then our porter, always, my little porter, he would meet me often. and then guide me to my tent. Like he was like at a hotel concierge, and my pack was already in there, already set up, so we didn't even have to share tents, which was kind of a nice like solitude. And then we would go to dinner. And then one of the interesting things is they said, here's your trick of the day. You bring a water bottle, old school grandma's plastic water bottle. And at night they would fill it with hot water, and you would take it and put it inside your sleeping bag or hold it. And it would just be that like comfort warmth in a cold night. And then we would go to bed maybe 8 or so because it was pitch black outside, and then we'd wake up and do it all over again. But yeah, there was our group plus, and then there was other groups on the trail, but we had our group, and we would do dinner together, breakfast together, lunch together. Look at the sites. We went through 5 different climate zones, which was phenomenal, from like rainforest to, I don't even remember, arid, to all of the different zones.
So it wasn't traipsing through snow the whole time. At the bottom, there's no snow.
No, I mean, we were in the rainforest at the beginning. Like there was literally like National Geographic monkeys swinging from
No
the tree.
way. That's the next question. I was going to ask you if you saw any animals. Which animals?
Like we were just watching the monkeys. I was like, this is crazy. So I was like stopping, taking videos, watching the monkeys swing literally from tree to tree. Because we were in the rainforest. Yeah. And
what other animals did you see?
There was no bugs. I didn't see any bugs. Yeah, there's some birds, but mostly it was only in the rainforest, because when we got any higher, there weren't any. It was just too desolate for animals.
Well, I could ask you questions about Kilimanjaro for 72 hours straight, but that is so incredible. Wow, I'm blown away. It's something I didn't even know you did that. Awesome.
Well, thank you.
And with bad hips that need to be replaced. Geez, I mean, let's not forget that. That's incredible. Let's talk about J Duck Solutions. I think it's so cute. You have a little duck behind you. You're kind of blurred, so you can't really see him. But how did that all come about? Let's talk about how you started in business. How did you start doing what you're doing? And because we're just talking this morning, we were on a call together with our women group and just talking about our mission. And I love what you said. At the end of the day, your mission is to equip and encourage people. Let's talk about that first. What do you mean by that? And how are you doing that? I mean, you are doing that, but I love that, equipping and encouraging people. That's an amazing mission to have. How did you start? Like, where did that come from?
So, I don't even know what the beginning was, but I think I'm an encourager. I think that's one of my gifts, but I don't like to just give people credit. I like to give them tools, whether it's financial tools. Sometimes you need money, like to pay a bill, or maybe it's flowers because you need it to brighten your day. So I think it's that action doer in me to equip them. Or maybe it's like, a business strategy when you go into business. But how do you equip somebody? Give them tools that encourages them to be one step better for themselves. So not just doing it for them, but how do I give them tools? And that could look differently. And so it was probably 10, 12 years ago. I finally decided, I was like, you know what? I want to be able to just be able to do this for people. And I set up a bank account, and I went into the bank and I was like, I want to name this Equip and Encourage. And he looks at me and I was like, so I'll just funnel a portion of money. Now, sometimes I'll give more, but that way I always know I'm designating my own financial resources to help people. And it's not a question of, I have to pay my bills. No, that money's separate. And, and I don't have rules necessarily what that looks like. Eventually, I'd love to start a foundation for that and do grant applications, but that's a little bit down the way. But I was like, how do I start today with what I have?
That's so cool. That's a really good idea too. I never thought of that. You just constantly be thinking of what you can equip and encourage people with, and just have a little money set aside. And that's all that's the intention. That's the only purpose of that money. That's really smart. So let's talk about your business. What is J Duck Solutions? I love the name. Let's just start there. What the heck?
So,
What is it? Where did you come up
yes.
with that?
So the duck actually came from Ernie and Rubber Duck from Sesame Street. So my brother, I have to give him credit, about 10 years before I even dreamed of starting a business, he just said to me one day, hey, you need to name your company Rubber Duck Productions. Like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't really know what to do with it. So I just kind of like hung it on a hanger in a closet. And I was like, someday I'll come back to that. So when I got to when I was going to start my company, interestingly enough, that it was right at the beginning of the internet age when you had to get a URL, and that was taken by somebody in the UK. It wasn't being used, but it was taken. And so my brother helped me brand it to J for Janna and D for Duck. And what I never even realized is along the way, I just named it that. And, you know, what does everybody say to you when you're helping them? Help me get my ducks in a row. Like I did, that was never even part of what I was thinking of when I did that. But one of the foundations is Ernie and Rubber Duck. It was a companionship. It was loyal friendship. They were there to help each other, to better each other. And that's really a premise of what my company is, you know, I want to be that Ernie to the Rubber Duck. I want to be that to my clients, to be that listening ear, to help them through the problems, to help them reason, and help them be better on the other side, to serve and use their gifts to a greater ability.
Oh, I love that. Tell us some of the ways that you help people get their ducks in a row. That's so clever and cute. It's so true. We all need to get our ducks in a row.
Oh, and you know,
Help
it's
us.
funny. Personally, I'm a mess, but I help people do that business wise. So I really help business owners, because as being a business owner for many years, I realized that I thought I had to do everything on my own. And I realized that I was the worst at trying to tell people what I did for myself. I've hired people to help tell my story. And really, an owner starts with a vision and a passion to start a business for people. And that's what I love, is to work with visionaries, mission driven business owners. But the problem is they get so stuck in the day to day, they get thrown into the mix so many times, they lose that vision, that passion. And then they forget that they're not actually articulating it in a way that's compelling and truly getting to the heart of what they do. They often say, I'm selling this product, or I'm offering this service, but they don't get at the passion level, the vulnerability level of telling that story. And yes, vulnerability sells, but more than that, it's what compels your customers. It compels your team. It gives everybody a why. And so, like, I worked with a company, like an example, I worked with an organization who says, we're building a building. We want to raise money to build a building. I was like, oh, okay. But I help transform it to, we help kids who are abused and sex trafficking provide a place and restore a place for them so they can live life. And so I literally just got it. I didn't change their mission or what they do, but just put words to the passion and the vulnerability to what they were doing. And it just creates such a difference. And I love seeing that moment. I was telling somebody about a week ago, it's about 3 sessions in, or like at the end of a full, like if I'm doing a 2-day session, the end of the first day or beginning of the next, all of a sudden there's this moment where I see my client pause, take a deep breath, and then they exhale and go, that's the moment. And they'll start saying something. I'm like, that's it, that's it, that's it. And we finally get down to the layer. And then that's where we can really begin. So we dig through all these layers when they really go, this is why I started my business. And once they realize that, their whole company, it's like almost whatever list of challenges, sales slumps, tech isn't working, customer retention, literally whatever list of challenges they listed at the beginning can almost all begin to be resolved once they get to the core issue. And so again, it's just helping an owner be their best selves.
Yeah. And get to the heart of it. It's like, actually, yeah, businesses, we lose track of that sometimes. We have P&Ls and taxes and accounting. And I do the same thing in my business. I get really bogged down by the technical stuff that needs to be done, the spreadsheets, the accounting, all of the tasks. And then it's like, you could let that be your entire life. You can literally spend your entire life doing tasks to run the business without actually remembering why you're in business. Yes, we all need money to, create the life that we want and have a home and support our children. And yes, we have to have money, obviously. But why are we in business? Why did we start business ourselves? What is it really? And I think we lose track of that. So what you're doing is so valuable, helping people just step back and remember. It's just a remembering. What is in your heart? Why are you doing this? And wow, just that one example about a building has nothing to do with the building. Even First Form, he's building some buildings too. It's a warehouse. Has nothing to do with the warehouse. It has everything to do with making everything in this country, bringing jobs to this country. It has nothing to do with the freaking warehouse, right? And so even that, every business has some kind of example of that. I would assume, right? You work with all kinds of businesses. Yeah,
they do.
What are some other businesses that you've worked with, and how have they, like, I'd love to hear another example or another two examples of that same thing happening, that aha moment, because I think any business owner is listening to us. If we hear a couple of examples, we might go, oh my gosh, this is what I'm missing, or this is why and why my mission.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I worked with a physical therapist. And again, he was like, I'm a online physical therapist. Like, okay. And I said, well, who are your clients and what problem do you solve? And he literally couldn't tell me the problem he solved for his clients. He could, and I said, well, why did they come to you? So he was working with women weightlifters who are in CrossFit. So if you're in CrossFit, you're almost always in some level of pain. That's part of it. Like, that's what you do. It hurts, you push through. And I said, well, how do they know when they push through it versus when they need to come to you? And he actually didn't know. So I went to some of my friends who were in CrossFit and weightlift, and I said, okay, tell me, here's these 3 questions, answer it for me. And they actually gave me the answers from their own self. And so when I kind of dug through again, I had this startling revelation to him. I said, what I think you need to do is change the name of your company. And I said, I know that it may take some time, so just let it sink in a little bit, because he was a physical therapist. And I said, what you really do is rehab and recovery. And then all of a sudden, that aha moment, he's like, I step in when they finish physical therapy, traditional physical therapy, and it's failed for them and they're not better. And I take them to 100%. I'm like, that's the moment. That's the bridge. You've identified a specific point in time where you step in for the people. And then we flipped what was a challenge of online physical therapy. Well, we flipped it to rehab and recovery, nicknamed him Dr. Corey, so he still had his credibility, and then turned the negative online to it's accessible anywhere. Anywhere where you have a cell signal, you have a coach, exercises, and rehab and equipment that fits in your backpack. So we took his list of challenges of everybody doesn't want to do this, I don't accept insurance. I said, but they're going to pay for group fitness. They already pay for a gym membership. As we, by rebranding it and helping it become more specific, we turned the passion in helping women become just gutless and with a bulletproof confidence to 100% recovery, versus we just get you to feel better.
Oh, it's so smart. I love that. Talking about what services I provide, or, here's my landing page with the top 10 things that I can do. Well, no, you're talking about, what is the solution? What is the problem people are coming to you, and what are you solving? That's huge. But people forget. We forget, we got our training, we got our business set up, we've got our things and our hours and our website. There's so many things we're focused on. I think it's easy to forget. And I love that you're taking them back, stepping back. You're focused on the solutions, finding the solutions and articulating that. There's everybody has different skills. And also, just wanted to point out, whatever skills you don't have, there's always a solution for that too. if you're not really great at writing copy or really great at articulating what your passion is, or really amazing at public speaking, you don't have to be. There's always a solution. That's what I love about your name, you know, your mission. And people forget about, oh, I don't think there is a solution. I can't find a fix, or I can't find the answer or whatever. No, you can just not give up if you just keep searching.
Absolutely. And that's what I think as a business owner, it's so easy to become discouraged because your whole company comes to you for answers. And
Yeah.
you don't always have them. And so that's why I love being the consultant model. It ends up being sometimes a coach, that's not what I do, but you're just there to offer moral support and say, okay, it's okay to not know, but let me pour into you. Let me give you some more answers and encouragement and help you find that so that you can actually keep leading. Do what you do what you're great at. But I'm going to be that outside person to help bring you, like you said, from the day to day, we're going to focus on some other things. And then, you know what, after we find this core, I'm going to help you work with your team to implement all these different solutions to make it work. So again, like we're not going to take away from the day-to-day, but bring another layer, that guiding force, that, you know, guide to help them and just literally just encourage them to do what they already know to do, but they think that they kind of lost their way and they got stuck in a rut. We all do.
We all do. Absolutely. I love it. Gosh, there's so many things I want to ask you. So how did you get started? What was the start of your career? You just started your business 10 years ago. So you're in 10 years now about?
So it's interesting. Yeah. So I'm actually about 15 years in, give or take. I've kind of jumped in and out. But what I started helping people with create experiences and create their message was actually in events. So
I didn't know that.
I was actually doing the same thing. So I was doing event production and design. And really the moment I was doing the logistics, doing the events, big conferences, multi-day things, fundraising events, but there was a moment in time that changed my whole career. I had finished this big fundraising event. All the boxes were checked for that night. Like guests showed up on time. They all got their tables. The program went off. The dinner was served. The program went off. They asked for money. We went home. All was great. So I showed up at our Monday morning meeting and I was ready that moment. Like, oh, Janna, you did a great job. And what I heard was the event failed. And I stumbled back, probably even visibly, I'm not sure, but I was able to regain enough to go, I mean, this is from our whole team. And I said, excuse me, do you mind me asking why you said that? And they said, because we didn't get the results we wanted. Oh. And that was literally a game changer of my entire career, because from that moment forward, I wanted to own the end results. So then I started with, and I became more of an event designer, producer, marketing, wore all those hats, because I said, what do we want to achieve? So everything going forward, and I do that with my clients now. What do you want it to look like when we finish working together? And then I did that with my events. What do you want them leaving the event knowing, feeling, seeing, and doing? So you're capturing all the senses, where the location, what's on the screens, what's being said, and then what's your call to action. So I didn't realize I was basically invoking all my marketing from like basically that I know now. I just was doing it and telling the story. So I started writing all the copy, again, as an event person, from the very beginning with that message, with whatever the end was in mind. I was creating that picture, I was building that story, writing that imagery so that then we had achieved the results. And so that's really how I started doing that. And then, you know, fast forward to 2 years ago when I came across Donald Miller's Story Brand book, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is what I've been doing, but there's a name to it. And so that was really how I transitioned from events, and I transitioned my career in events. And then I was like, you know what? I want to make a greater impact with business owners, people like myself, and come alongside them.
That's so cool. I think that's a really good life lesson too. When we start with the end in mind, what do we really want to achieve? Then some of those small decisions or things that we think are important I can picture events. I've done some events, not to that extent, smaller with clients and stuff like that. You can spend 4 hours deciding on what freaking flower goes in the centerpiece, right? Should it be a red tulip or a freaking yellow rose, right? I'm sure you have.
Yes.
Especially like for weddings, like people obsess over the stupidest crap. And
Yes.
some things are important. Yes, you want the aesthetic is, yes, ambiance is important and whatever, but sometimes that's not going to get us the end result at all. It doesn't freaking matter if it's a 6-inch glass vase or, you know what I mean? Like,
Right. It doesn't.
dumbest stuff. It doesn't matter. What do we want? We want people to love, and we want people to donate, or we want people to, cherish a couple, or we, celebrate life, whatever it is. And grow your business, raise money for a building to help sex traffickers. It's so great to get your head out of the weeds, as they say, and not obsess about something that doesn't matter, and then obsess about the things that really do matter. Do you help clients figure out what that is? Is that some of the things that you do? What really matters in your business? Like, have them get to what's really going to get you there. I mean, that's huge, to actually start with the end in mind. And we should all be doing this. Do you help them? Okay, this is the end in mind. What is the most important thing? And they keep the most important things, the most important things.
And I do. And that's really the start of it. Why did you start it? And where do you want to go? And then kind of, okay, why are you not there? So it's kind of like counseling too. And I go, okay, we're going to take away business systems. We're going to take away your staff for the moment. Like, what is your vision? Because everyone's looking to you for those answers. And if you're not clear on that, then the rest of your team can't get there with you. I have this quote. I don't even know where I have it, but I have it pasted on my wall right here. It says, build the team with the right people, and then ask the team to help build the mission and vision. And that's it. If we as business owners don't have our why and where we're going, we've really got nothing, and we can't expect everyone else to help get there, because they don't know. They don't know where they fit. They don't know where they're going.
And it doesn't feel as good to be a part of a team that I don't have a purpose. I have a job. And it's so much more rewarding to have a purpose and a mission. I'm here for something amazing. Like, I'm a part of something amazing. And they won't be able to feel that and get that benefit and feel that fulfillment unless they know what the mission is, what the purpose is. Why am I clocking in and out from 8 to 5 every day? Whatever it is, we all need to do a job. We all need to do tasks, but man, so much more fulfilling to be part of something. Everybody wants to be part of something, whether they know it or not.
Everybody in a company, from the person who cleans the toilets to the person who does data entry. If the person who does data entry knows that they are creating a place and, kind of helping that person find their way inside their company, and that their future is better versus data entry. So again, I just really help tell the story. Like, I help them tell the story, and then how do you communicate that throughout? So it could be to the staff, it could be in your product line. How do you describe your products? Are you telling them what it does, or are you telling it how it helps them? What are the solutions you do? What are the emails you're sending out to your customers? So side note, little PR, get no kickbacks from this, but Honey Love is one of those ads that, for bras, I came across the internet, and I bought one, and I absolutely loved their messaging. They're like, oh, it's arriving. Tell us how it is. I mean, their messaging, again, makes me want to buy more just because I love getting their messages. So how do we invite people into our company? And again, like we talked about, make them feel like family, make it feel like a brand that I cannot live without. And so that's my goal at the end of the day, is how to equip and encourage their customers. And how do we do that? By backfilling to their team and then the owner.
Yes, I love that. So if someone is just starting off and maybe don't have the resources right now to hire you to help them through this process, could you give us a top 3 things that they can do on their own to just help them through? If somebody's just starting out and don't have tons of capital per se, what would you suggest?
So the first thing I would say is really think through what your customers are dealing with when they come to you. Like what are they, what's their problem? Think emotional problem. Don't think, think are they suffering from XYZ? Are they challenged with this? What are they coming to you with? What problems are they coming to you with? And then when they leave you, what do they want to be transformed as? So like they come to you with pain and you like get them to bulletproof 100%. So what, and sometimes it's not using a product, just what emotions are they coming with and problems, and then how are you sending them off their way? So that's the biggest thing. And that sounds really easy, but that's actually pretty hard to think through that. So, but then you want a second thing would be think through the problems you're solving for them. So I like to say, imagine your customer sitting at their kitchen table with their partner, their spouse, their kids, and they're like, like they're drinking coffee going, oh my gosh, this morning, if I only had, or if I had a solution for X, life would be so much better. So name that. It could be, I need more time. It could be, I can't be organized. It's not, I need a calendar. I need a way to be more organized, or I need, so usually naming the emotions, naming the struggle, and then that's what you backfill your messaging that your product meets those needs. You don't sell products, you sell solutions to their problems. You sell solutions to the needs that they're having. And so if you get, I mean, we've all scrolled the internet where like we Google search something and then all of a sudden the sidebar it creeps on us and everything related to that. That's really what you want someone when they're reading your copy or hearing you speak, they're like, oh my gosh, I said that just this morning. Like, those were my exact words to myself. And so that's, I mean, I'm the worst enemy. I always want to sell my product. We don't sell product. We ultimately meet needs because we're all selfish humans. We want you to solve my problem. And so I think it's, how's your customer coming to you and how do you want them to leave? What are the problems they're having? Write them down because those are names. Like you want to name it. And then from that, you almost backfilled what your customer looks like. Are they in their, what age range? What socioeconomic? Do they live in the city? Are they a single mom? Are they, working with stepkids? Whatever that is. And again, it helps you know what needs you're meeting and what other problems they have. Is it time? Does your product help them find time? Like the online physical therapist. Well, they need physical therapy, but their ultimate thing is they don't have time to keep going back to a doctor. So the inadvertent benefit is it's online, so they can do it whenever they want. So yeah, sometimes it's like that. You have to think backwards sometimes to really think about what are the struggles your clients are having.
Yeah, I love that. I wish I had. We don't sell products. We solve needs. You didn't say solve. We say it one more time.
I mean, you do. You solve needs. You solve their problems. You meet
Problems.
Yes, solve their problems.
Meet their needs. That's what you said. So it's two ways of saying the same thing. But yeah, what needs do they have and how are you meeting them? And then really there is nothing else. That's the only reason to be in business, right?
Right.
And it's so great to think of it that way. And then all of a sudden then we're all on a mission. We're meeting needs, man. We're helping people. It's like, there's nothing better than helping somebody. That's awesome. Janna, thank you so much for this. You're so wise and so full of life and energy and love and service. And everybody can see that just from you talking. And so thank you for being here today. How can people find you?
My Instagram is Janna B Head Duck because Head Duck.
You're the head duck of the
is jducksolutions.com.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll put all of her links below in the show notes. Thank you again for being here. And
thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure and joy just to have a conversation with you. Thank you.
So fun. And listeners, thank you for being here and listening and following along. And just remember that you can create a life that you love just by taking it one day at a time. and listen to Janna and solve people's needs and, and never stop looking for solutions. I just love that. I feel very inspired today. So thank you. God bless you. Thank you for being here. And until next time, God bless.